Hello, hi, it is I, the Lore of Lore Explores, and today we are exploring sort of why am I doing this channel thing? Why am I starting over? All kinds of things. Really, y'all, I'm just trying to put up a video. Let's be 100% honest. I really want to upload every Wednesday, but I don't have a good rhythm, and it always takes me a while to figure out how I like to do things. So we're just gonna let it be an iterative process. We missed last Wednesday because I was like, oh, woe is me, I have not had time to edit the next piece of my Fields of Mystery game, which also means I haven't been playing it, which kind of makes me sad, but whatever. Anyway, today I was lamenting that once again it had become Wednesday, and once again, I don't have a video. So I figured maybe I'll just ramble and chat, because random chats is in fact one of the points of this channel. So I don't know about you, but things have been just sort of all over the place. I've both mentally sort of been right? Because the world and everything kind of, looking around, and also kind of doing okay. It's a really weird mix. I've been trying to just let things happen as they happen. I'm trying to do a lot of art. I want to make videos of said art, but that kind of feels like a bit of a mountain in of itself, because I have to set things up, and I am forever cleaning my room / trying to set things up, and I have too many art objects, and it's a whole spirally mess. If you can relate to that at all, having things you want to be doing, but having trouble doing the thing because of some sort of obstacle, tell me about it in the comments. Let's chat. Maybe one of us has an idea on how to help the other one succeed at the thing you want to do. But yeah, so I've decided that maybe just recording a video about some of these thoughts might be a way to bridge that gap between doing and not doing, not doing and doing. I don't know. I am very busy, all of the time, with just sort of projects and things, right? We have a lot of game related things. If you don't really know the sort of shenanigans I'm typically up to, a lot of things sort of revolve around role playing in my life right now, either tangentially related to tabletop role playing. I run a game for our household, a Pathfinder game, and we have another player friend who comes over for that, and we do that maybe once a month. But I also help storytell our local live action role playing game set in the world of darkness, Vampire the Masquerade specific, and that can tend to be a lot of where I put a lot of energy currently, because escapism and kind of not looking at the insanity of the world right now is one way that I'm trying to cope with the insanity of the world right now. So, obviously, I'm an adult human who also has responsibilities and things, and preparing food and doing grocery shoppy type things, and laundry and dishes and all that boring mundanity things. I mean, I don't know. These things the grand adulting category, I sometimes do indeed get joy out of this. I like to set things to some sort of cleanliness standard or whatever. I like organizing things, but that can also be daunting at times, right? And if you're a person who lives with mental illnesses of any sort, that can just add this whole additional hurdle. I know it does in my life, yay. And then any other health complications or chronic pain, all, there's things that make us perhaps not as productive as we think we should be. I've spent quite a few years now trying to come to terms with like maybe the level of productivity that I think I'm supposed to have is not entirely realistic. But I'm still not fantastic at, that. I don't even know what that is right now. It's what we get when we just have stream of consciousness thought. But what I have been putting some energy to in order to kind of look at finding joy and, distraction is, like I said, our gaming spaces. And it's been a lot of fun. It's got me writing because some level of, while we do meet in person for the live action role-playing game, LARP, while we meet in person once a month, that's a whole rest of a month that we utilize Discord to set up scenes for characters to talk to other characters and stuff like that. So that's a lot of fun, and it's prompted me to think a lot more about writing and text and setting scenes and conveying emotion, and that's a really fulfilling creative outlet. I have not been painting and playing with colors and gel printing and things as much as I want to, because I'm trying, like I said, I would like to be making some videos about that. I would like to be making some videos showing some of those processes, showing off my art. I don't know. I don't really do those things to create like pieces, like artwork at this point. It's more just to enjoy the process of creativity, to allow myself to fall into the creative process instead of doom scroll or fret about my life or the world or what have you. It's just sort of an outlet, like it's a different sort of distraction. But it takes time, and I have to set things up, and so I haven't really found a good process. I'm very like process oriented. I like to have a way that I do a thing. So there's always this like series of iterations I go through to figure out how to do a thing I want to do. My brain is weird, y'all. I think every brain is weird to some degree, but my brain just, it can be a very frustrating place. Which kind of brings us back to like, what is the deal with this channel? And part of it, reasons I chose Lore Explores, is because I want to have a space to sort of externally process some of my thoughts, to just ramble, to things, to be able to say things out loud without necessarily burdening my friends or partners, because things make more sense to me when I externalize them. If I let myself just brood on things, sometimes that doesn't go to great places. When I speak, I can also hear, and it's a different sort of processing. So I don't know if anyone has any sort of interest in being involved in my processing. I don't know that I care. But I figure I'll do it, and it's been really hard to give myself permission to do that. I feel like if I'm going to put content on the internet, it must be like capital C content that has been curated and made super pretty and all of these things. And I enjoy that sometimes, but also I really just enjoy rambling to a camera and just rambling and thinking and processing. So I don't know, maybe we'll practice letting ourselves just do some of that. Let me know if that's a thing that you do at all. Like, is it, even if you don't share it with anybody, do you find it easier to make sense of the world, your own internal world or the world around you, through speech? Does it make more sense to you to like write things down? Do you not have an inner monologue? I'm very interested to hear from anybody who doesn't really like have a constant sort of running inner monologue, because my brain is like almost always busy chattering, and that can be a whole thing. But yeah, kind of the main focus is for me right now is, like I said, I spend a lot of time on this, like creating this sort of fantasy world, or interacting with the like character creations and concepts and helping other people develop their stories. Like, storytelling is really fun, right? It's really fun to like come up with stories and explore a landscape that isn't the reality we're currently all in. And then I also really like to do creative-y stuff, and sometimes that's to come up with like a final project that tends to be more in like a fabric fiber realm for me. Like, I will crochet something and perhaps eventually have a solid like something, or knitting, or lately I've been getting into embroidery, which is related to vampire reasons. My character in Vampire decided embroiders, so that became, it's always a skill I've wanted to learn in real life. So playing, like creating a character that has that as one of her main activities, has inspired me to bring it into my real practice. And then, so those things tend to become like actual projects that like I finish, have a defined sort of vision to them. And then when I do, that is a very loud vehicle in the distance. Hopefully it's not obnoxious, and I apologize if it is, but we're not editing, because then we'll never put this video out. But when I play with like colors and paints and like my gel plates and whatnot, that isn't really about a final project at this point. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with any of that. I have vague ideas about like bookbinding and making books and like doing art journaling or whatever. And I've done a little bit of that. But mostly that's just kind of, that's more about process and less about product. It's about just doing the thing. I don't know. Do you have any activities that you do the activity just to do the activity? Like, you get joy and contentment out of doing the activity, but the outcome isn't really relevant? I don't know. I think a lot about these kind of things and like how one uses time, and is it a waste of time? Waste. We get lots of air quotes around here. Or I don't know where I was going with that train of thought, so we'll just shift gears. And this whole productivity thing is something I've been trying to sort of explore and do a little bit of like deconstruction around, and a little bit of understanding what is a reasonable amount of productivity for my abilities, skill sets, brain functioning, energy levels, etc. Because I feel like my relationship to that concept isn't as based in reality as it maybe could be. Like, I feel like I developed the belief around like one's inherent worth is tied to their productivity. And I don't really feel like I believe that anymore. Like, I don't think that that's a great belief to have, but it's so ingrained. it crops up in places that I don't expect. And it can make it very difficult for me to just enjoy something, which is really why I enjoy the creative play, or why I make an effort to have creative play that like doesn't have an outcome, really doesn't have a purpose. It's really just kind of about like, if I play with these colors and these shapes and these textures and whatnot, what happens? It's about a curiosity, not a product. Anyway, those are some random thoughts. Thanks for joining me on this adventure if you're still here. And if you are, please leave me a comment about, did I say anything that was relevant to you? What are you doing to potentially distract yourself from the sort of chaos, not sort of, but the very much chaos of the world right now, especially if you're living in the United States? Where are you finding comfort and joy? Are you finding any? What do you do to help your brain be a more useful brain for you? I'm not sure how I want to phrase that. What do you do to help your brain? That's I guess my question. And yeah, and I don't know, whatever else. If my ramblings prompted some other seemingly completely unconnected tangent in your brain, maybe we can talk about that in the comments. Anyway, I'm curious whether we can use YouTube as a more social connection point. I don't really have any urge to be on some of the other social platforms. I am trying to play around with the idea of Blue Sky, but like I was never super into Twitter, so I don't have a process for that. How do I have a process? I'm trying to figure out how to social on the internet in 2025, y'all. Does it make any sense to try to do that on YouTube? I don't know. Tell me what you think about that. All right, anyway, lots of love to you. Mwah. I will see you next time. Next Wednesday, maybe I'll upload another ramble if I don't get around to editing something. All right, bye.